Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 11 and compare it against the iPhone 11 Pro Max and see which specific phone you should go ahead and buy in 2023. Now, both these phones kind of have the same type of thing and the same type of vibe, in my opinion, but remember that the iPhone 11 Pro Max was the $1,000 phone of 2019, and the iPhone 11 was a $699 phone of 2019. So there was hundreds and hundreds of dollars in between these phones, but even now, there's way less of a difference in price. I mean, these phones are probably like $150 between each other, maybe $200. So you can see over time how much more similar these prices are, which is very interesting. If you want to pick up either one of these phones, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there, and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, on the front of the iPhone 11, we had a 6.1-inch IPS panel on it, and it was a pretty decent panel. I think we kind of got used to it coming from the iPhone XR in 2018, and this type of panel I think still holds up decently well. It's definitely not the best panel of all time, but I do think Apple, for the most part, they could have done a worse job. I think that's the best way to put it. We clearly have a little bit of bezel around it. We still have the notch, so compared to the latest iPhone 14 Pro, this one definitely looks dated. But compared to the iPhone 11 Pro Max, it is almost around the same thing, which isn't that big of a deal. With the 11 Pro Max, we do have a bigger 6.5-inch Super Retina OLED display. So this is a very good panel. I like this panel a lot. I think this 11 Pro Max has an aftermarket display, so it's definitely not the first party. But I still think it's a pretty decent panel overall, and there's, again, not that much to complain about with these panels. So the 11 Pro Max definitely is bigger. It's definitely better, but I still think the iPhone 11's panel is still pretty decent as well. Now for the rest of the body, one very interesting thing is you can tell that on the side, the iPhone 11 Pro Max has this reflective material on it. The iPhone 11 has the standard aluminum body. I like both. I think both look great. I think the 11 Pro Max definitely looks like the better one here for sure. You have lightning ports at the bottom, and on the back you have their camera setups. So funny enough with the 11 Pro Max, it's funny because the camera setups nowadays are so big that this one almost looks kind of like not even like a real iPhone, which is very funny. With the iPhone 11, the dual camera setup here, iPhone 11 Pro Max triple camera setup, you do have very different backs on both these phones as well. So with the iPhone 11 Pro Max, you did have this frosted glass back. I do have it cracked at the top and the bottom. It's kind of funny. With my iPhone 11, it is still in almost really good condition. This one has that standard glass back. So again, there's not really too much to complain about on the iPhone 11 front, but the iPhone 11 Pro Max with a frosted glass back, I mean, it is beautiful. I love the back of the iPhone 11 Pro Max for sure. You have IP certification on both, you have wireless charging on both as well. So I will still say both these phones hold up fairly well, but the 11 Pro Max probably holds up better overall. Now in terms of the software and the longevity portion, because both of these phones have almost the same type of power and the same chipsets, you're really going to be getting the same lasting phone on both. So what does that mean? Well, essentially with something like the iPhone 11, even though it was a cheaper phone from 2019, this phone is theoretically speaking going to last the same amount of time as the 11 Pro Max, and vice versa. The iPhone 11 Pro Max, the most expensive phone or more expensive phone of 2019 from Apple, this phone is going to last the same amount of time as the iPhone 11 because they have the same chipsets. So keep that in mind. But regardless of that, it's not really that big of a deal either. They're still going to be getting support for probably a few more years. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these phones. The iPhone 11 Pro Max has that Apple A13 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 GB of RAM, where the iPhone 11 also has the Apple A13 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 GB of RAM as well. So let's go and see which one's the faster one between both. Okay, there we go. All the apps are cleared out in the background, so let's get into it. Phone calls, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's go up here. Music, 3, 2, 1. I think the 11 Pro Max was slightly slower, but they were on 2 different panels, so we'll hop out of this one. Let's go and do their app stores, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we are not connected to the internet here. I just realized that. So we'll just hop out of these two on both. We'll go into their cameras, 3, 2, 1. Okay, perfect. Let's go and take a photo, 3, 2, 1. Now this one did do night mode, this one did not. So it's a little bit of a difference, but not really a ginormous one. Let's go and hop into these photos. The 11 I think was faster. Photos, 3, 2, 1. Not a ginormous difference, but like a slightly thing. I think the iPhone 11 again was the faster one there. Clock, 3, 2, 1. About the same thing. Mail, 3, 2, 1. I think the 11 Pro Max was faster. We do have some of these third-party applications between both as well. So let us get into it. We can try something like Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And we can see that, again, the 11 Pro Max actually was the faster one here. The iPhone 11 was a little tiny bit slower. Again, not a ginormous deal, but definitely a faster phone, I think, on the iPhone 11 Pro Max on this specific game. Let's go and click play, and let's see if there's any glitches on them. I don't really think there may have been a little glitch on the 11 Pro Max, but not a ginormous one. Let's go and hop out of these two. Let's go and get into Subway Surfers, which I have somewhere on this phone. 3, 2, 1. Very close, but the iPhone 11 Pro Max was the faster one there to get into that next panel. Hopping out of these two. Let's go into the next one. Let's do stack. 3, 2, 1. And I think the 11 Pro Max again was the faster one there. Let's try Snake vs. Blocks. 3, 2, 1. And two different panels on both. Let's go and hop out of these two. Let's go and get into something like Twitter. 3, 2, 1. Okay, kind of different setup there. Facebook. 3, 2, 1. We were logged in here, so we'll just kind of hop out of this one. Let's go into Netflix. 3, 2, 1. Okay, different pop-up on here as well. So overall, what I'll definitely tell you is I don't really think there was a big difference in the performance at all. If anything, I was trying to make up things of like, oh, this one's faster, this one's faster. They're pretty much like the same exact thing. I think sometimes one is going to be faster or slower than the other one. And in this case, there's really pretty much the same exact thing. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. Now in the camera department, as I mentioned, you do have a dual camera setup on the iPhone 11. We have a triple camera setup on the iPhone 11 Pro Max. So because of this, and because they're the exact same phones almost internally, you are going to be getting a better camera overall on the iPhone 11 Pro Max, mostly because of its additional telephoto lens. That is a really nice feature to have that the iPhone 11 doesn't have. But I feel like I've talked a lot more about the iPhone 11 like the last 2 or 3 years since the iPhone 11's been out, and then something like the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Actually, it's been about 4 years since this phone's been out. It's been crazy. So with something like the 11, you're still getting a pretty good camera. You're getting 5x zoom, you're getting 0.5x zoom on the outside, and you're still getting a lot of features. Video mode, slow mode, portrait mode, panorama mode, like you still have a lot of features built in, which is really nice. And I've always liked a camera like this because it's quick, it's very, it's very efficient, and you know what the photos are going to look like as you take them, other than like some other phones I've owned. The 11 Pro Max, on the other hand, this is a very, very good camera too. It's pretty much the exact same thing as the iPhone 11, to be honest. But again, with this one, you are getting that additional telephoto lens, which is what, 10x zoom? So it is, twice the amount of zooming in capability on the iPhone 11 Pro Max than the iPhone 11. But you're still getting that 0.5x zoom on the outside too, which is really nice. So like you're still getting video mode, portrait mode, whole 9 yards. It's still a very, very good camera. And because the screen is so big, it gives you a better viewfinder, and the screen is better and high quality. So it does actually give you a better impression that the screen and the photos and videos are better than they might actually be. So to kind of sum up this video, what I'll tell you is I definitely do think something like the iPhone 11 Pro Max is by far, I think, a better phone than the iPhone 11. You're going to be getting a better screen, maybe the same performance, but you're getting better cameras, better battery life probably. This is a really, really nice phone for sure. Now with the iPhone 11, it is a cheaper phone overall, which is nice. I like having a cheaper phone because you can, if you crack it, if you break it, it's not the end of the world. But the iPhone 11 Pro Max is also not a super expensive phone. It's probably like less than $500 right now. So that is also another thing to keep in mind here. So at the end of the day, I think the iPhone 11 is a very good deal, but I think the iPhone 11 Pro Max is probably the better phone. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.